Welcome to the Cosmic Connection. Hello.
Hello. You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you about an incident that occurred in 1968 off the coast of Vietnam.
Please do. Speak up, please, and tell us your name.
Yeah, my name is Richard. I'm from Gladstone.
Hello, Richard.
I was stationed on the U.S.S. FORRESTER, plane guarding for the Enterprise off the coast of Vietnam in 1968. There was myself, the Enterprise, and 3 other ships, most of them destroyers. We're all on a fantail at night, kind of goofing off and smoking and joking, kind of relaxed time. And whenever you have a series of ships together in formation, there's kind of a low hum. There's always this low hum of all the noise from the ships. And off on the horizon, we saw this light, and it just stayed there, and it attracted our attention enough to where all of us that were on the fantail were watching this light, and it was like it took less time than a second or two. Came right over the top of all of the ships. All the lights went out, the power went out, ships turned in different directions.
No kidding.
There was almost collisions. I mean, all the power on the ship went off. Almost, not like that, but I mean, because it was night. And then it went in the opposite direction, kind of like a 45-degree angle, went right back to the other horizon behind us and disappeared. And the lights came back on, all the ships came back running again. We were told the next day that it was some kind of a test and that we shouldn't tell anybody about it and keep our mouth shut and bury it, and anybody that mentions it will be brought up on charges, and I let it lay for a long time, and now I don't care. I'm out of the service.
Sure.
You know, it's like this is baloney.
Could you tell us what year that happened in?
1968.
And the month?
Let's see. We were plane guarding. Must have been March.
And this was an afternoon or an evening sighting?
No, this was night. This was probably, it was on after the night watch, probably midnight.
And the name of your ship, please?
U.S.S. FORRESTER.
Right, thank you. All right, I'm sorry about that. I didn't catch that.
That's okay.
Dennis?
And so it sounds like this light displayed speeds and maneuvers that really alerted you to the fact that this was something unusual.
Oh, this wasn't something that we owned.
Sure.
This was something that was owned by a civilization or a group of people that were testing something that was far beyond our capabilities. I mean.
So in a rough ballpark estimation, it was roughly traveling thousands of miles an hour and doing things that our present-day technology cannot do.
Oh yeah.
Did you get a good look at the craft? Can you tell us what it looked like?
All it was a light. It was a light that came from the horizon overhead, and it had a ring of lights on the outside of it, a bright white light. It had a ring of lights on the outside of it, and it lasted for the count of 10, the whole incident, 10 seconds. Probably from the time that we saw it, we all went, whoa, look at that. And then it came right up over the top of the ships, the noises stopped, the lights went out, and 5 seconds later it was gone to the other horizon and disappeared. Nothing.
A circular craft, or was it not circular?
Pardon me?
Could you tell what the shape of the craft was?
Yeah, it was circular.
Okay.
And it was noiseless, not a sound.
Richard, I have heard reports of United States Air Force chasing after North Vietnam helicopters during the Vietnam War campaign. As I understand it, Vietnam did not have very many helicopters, or helicopters that were of combat or surveillance type capabilities. Were you ever aware of this, or gentlemen, have you ever heard of this scenario?
I've heard the scenario of fighter pilots in Vietnam chasing after Vietnamese helicopters, but most of the helicopters that the Vietnamese had weren't fast enough to outrun our craft.
Absolutely.
So if they're outrunning our craft, guess what?
You know, there was an interesting incident the other night. There's an organization in Seattle called the National UFO Hotline Service, and they got a call from Portland on Friday night, which I happened to get information on Saturday morning. It'd be interesting if any of our viewers happen to see the sighting. It was between 9:45 and 10 o'clock on Friday night. There was a very large object, the shape of a cone, that went over Portland to the south. And the witness, who sounded fairly credible to me, indicated that about 7 minutes later, 3 F-16s were going along the same trajectory, trying to catch up with it. So I'd be curious to know if anybody happened to see that sighting, because it was a very intriguing sighting.
Yeah, just as a side note, we thought the 10 or 15 of us that were out on the fantail, we thought that this was just something that was privy to ourselves, that nobody else saw it. When we went into Nha Trang, which was a military hospital base in Vietnam, to party and have fun, we met some other people. Some of the people who were on the Enterprise, and there was the FORRESTER was there, and maybe 15 or 20 other people that we met in a couple of the bars in town had also, witnessed it, and they were kind of standoffish as we were because of the notification that came down. Shoot, I was only 20,
Sure.
Maybe 18.
Now, please, since I've never heard this scenario with the UFO sighting about these major ships having power blackouts and driving off course.
Uh-huh.
Tell us about some of the maneuvers the ships did. They were just free floating without power?
I don't know if you own a boat, but if you get in a boat and you're powering this boat and you shut the motor off, your boat's going to go where it wants to. You're not going to have hardly any steering at all, and what steering that you do have is going to be just very minimal.
And we're speaking of warships, massive ships.
We're speaking of tonnage, yes.
Very interesting. I've never heard that scenario.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Richard.
It was scary to us because everything got real quiet. I don't know if you've ever been out in the middle of the ocean at midnight, but when you don't see any land around and you're with 7 or 8 or 4 or 5 different ships, you've got this low din, this hum of the motors from these ships. When those motors all of a sudden cut off, it's like your ears, something's wrong with your ears, something goes bad. All you can hear is just the water sloshing. And it's kind of eerie.
Well, we'd like to follow up on this report. If you'd do us the favor of calling us back after the show goes off there, call us back and we can make arrangements to contact you and follow up more on this. We're very interested in it.
Sure.
And it's very possible we could find somebody here in the Portland area who may have just by coincidence. You never know.
Sure. I haven't kept contact with any of my sea buddies, so
sure.
I don't know.
All right. Well, Richard, please call us after the program on the same number. We'd be happy to talk with you.
All right.
Thank you very much, Richard.